Macedonia in English. Just about everything you want to know.
Foreign Minister Popovsky meets U.S. Secretary of State Clinton. Foreign Minister Nikola Popovsky held a meeting with the U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton on the sidelines of the OSCE Ministerial Council in Dublin. At the meeting, the minister discussed the strategic partnership between the two countries, pointed out the need for a NATO membership for Macedonia as soon as possible, and talked about the current state of affairs in the region. Popovsky also met with British Minister of State for Europe David Lidington, Italian Under-Secretary of Foreign Affairs Marta Dasu, and her Dutch counterpart Frans Timmermans. Popovsky reiterated that Macedonia expects to get a date to begin accession negotiations with the EU, asking for their and their country's concrete support at the upcoming meeting of the European Council. The minister delivered a speech at the Council in which he outlined Macedonia's priorities with regard to the activities of the OSCE, stressing on that occasion both the global importance and the all-encompassing approach of the organization in addressing the ongoing security challenges. On that note, Popovsky emphasized the need to invest efforts in promoting the core postulates of the OSCE, such as taking preventive measures, early warning, and undertaking timely actions aimed at handling new challenges in the shape of illegal trafficking in small arms and light weapons and proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Commissioner Füle on name issues. At the Friends of Europe 10th Anniversary Conference, Balkans Progress, Battling to Overcome the Impact of Crisis, EU Enlargement Commissioner Stefan Füle said it was important for the Skopje authorities not to believe that the solution to the name issue lies in the creativity of the EC people or that the Council members will find a magical solution. According to him, a solution can be found only through an open policy towards the neighbors such as Greece and Bulgaria, Radio Free Europe reported. The Commissioner said he was happy that Greece made important steps for progress and that the Memorandum of Understanding is a good basis for moving forward, an opportunity he hopes Skopje will not miss. Füle also highlighted that he closely followed the communication between the Macedonian and Bulgarian authorities addressing several open issues between the two countries related to good neighborly relations. According to him, the reforms are once again on the top of Macedonia's agenda due to the high-level accession dialogue. MIM organizes debate on political pressures on media. Several participants in the debate, organized by the Macedonian Institute for Media (MIM), said that there are no media rules on the media market in Macedonia. According to them, economic and political pressures are rising, while the decreasing number of commercials is also a problem. The owner of Canal 77 Radio claims that the hypocrisy of journalists is the reason for the desperate media situation. The politicians use the fact that the media make money from commercials to pressure the media owners who depend on the money they receive. While Macedonia is facing a media collision caused by political pressures, such problems in Croatia were overcome 10 years ago. While the Croatian government spends money on advertising, the amount of those funds is at a minimal level that is not crucial for the survival of the media in that country. The debate's main goal was to allow journalists, editors, and media managers to criticize the political pressures and find a way to overcome such problems. Greek Foreign Ministry on talks with Macedonia. One day after Greek Deputy Foreign Minister Dimitris Kourkoulas had said Greece found the use of the term Macedonian unacceptable, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Grigori Delavekouras indirectly confirmed that position as well. Greece's long-standing position is that the use of the qualifiers you gave examples of is directly linked to the issue of the name of the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia and the ongoing negotiations. That is why it is Greece's long-standing position is that the use of the qualifiers you gave examples of is directly linked to the issue of the name of the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia and the ongoing negotiations. That is why it is Greece's clear position in all the international forums in which we participate that these terms should not be used, he said when asked to comment on Kirkola's comments. According to him, other issues are obviously being discussed in the context of negotiations, but the central and essential issue is the finding of a mutually acceptable solution on the name issue. Повторувам. According to him, other issues are obviously being discussed in the context of negotiations, but the central and essential issue is the finding of a mutually acceptable solution on the name issue. At the briefing of diplomatic correspondents, Delavecouras said he has not seen the Deputy Foreign Minister's interview. According to him, the response to the Memorandum of Understanding Greece got from Macedonia lacked substance. We did get a letter, but it contained no substantial response to the specific framework proposed by Greece, he added. Proposals for Macedonia-EU talks briefly discussed at COREPER 2 meeting. The proposal to start accession negotiations between the European Union and Macedonia was briefly discussed at the meeting of COREPER 2, but there were no concrete conclusions. The discussion ended at midnight and it is expected to resume on Friday afternoon. COREPER 2 consists of ambassadors of EU member states to Brussels, while the meeting aims at adjusting the conclusions before the summit on the 13th and 14th of December. The foreign ministers of EU member states are also scheduled to hold a meeting before the summit. Judicial Council elects new members. The Judicial Council elected 5 new members with a 6-year term of office at Thursday's session. Gostivar judges showed their support to the current president of the Judicial Council, Alexandra Zafirovska. The other judges that were elected at the session are Vlatko Samardžijski and Meridika Georgievska of the Skopje Appellate Court, Mirjanka Gocevska-Stefanovska of the Appellate Court in Štip, and Jelica Krstevska, a judge in the Supreme Court, reads the Judicial Council's announcement. The election of new members ensued after the term in office of several members ended and a few others were retired. Call for new members was issued in September. This election will enable the Judicial Council to work without any interruptions. MOC to mediate resolutions of church dispute in Australia. The Macedonian Orthodox Church, Ohrid Archbishopric, and the Association of Macedonian Immigrants from Australia agreed that the Synod will run the 11 church communities that do not recognize the authority of Bishop Petar. The next session of the Synod will tackle this, as well as the issue of whether the Sveta Petka Church will fall under the jurisdiction of the MOA. Currently, court dispute on this church management is underway between Bishop Petar, in charge of the Macedonian church communities in Australia, and the association. The Synod has presented its platform comprised of 10 items, of which almost all are acceptable for the Australia representatives, save for the item referring to the law on management with properties. Повторувам. The Synod has presented its platform comprised of 10 items, of which almost all are acceptable for the Australia representatives, save for the item referring to the law on management with properties, stated MOC spokesperson Timotei. Bishop Petar told Canal Pet TV that he did not intend to negotiate with the church communities which demand that a new bishop be appointed in order to overcome the several decade-long dispute. Doctors refute State Sanitary Inspectorate conclusions. The Independent Trade Union of the Skopje Clinical Center refuted the allegations by the State Health and Sanitary Inspectorate that urgent surgeries over cancer patients had been put off. They say it is true that certain surgical interventions had been delayed. Nonetheless, these delays were not a result of the strike, but in relation to the health condition of the patients. Dr. Azra Kuchi of the Gynecology Clinic says that decision for treatment of risky patients can only be made by an expert board of doctors rather than the Sanitary Inspectorate. From within the union, they announced pressing charges against the Inspectorate and media that try to portray doctors in a negative way by manipulating patients. In the meantime, the Oncology Clinic distanced itself from the strike following the suit of the Toxicology Clinic. Vice Prime Minister Arifi expects creative solution. Vice PM of the Macedonian government, Teuta Arifi, stated that she expected a creative solution to come out of the European Council meeting that would be acceptable to both Macedonia and Greece. I expect the European Union and the European Council to adhere to the principle of creative solutions when it comes to us. I absolutely hope that a way will be found to adopt conclusions that will be acceptable to us and to the EU member states. If this happens, I feel the European Union will absolutely show both strength and partnership in terms of the Balkan issue, stated Arifi, who is currently visiting Washington. The goal of the visit is to inform of progress in the high-level accession dialogue and get the US support for opening negotiations with the European Union.
Macedonia in English. Just about everything you want to know.